Hello and welcome to the short PPR video on economies and diseconomies of scale. So the first task I would like you to do is have a go at defining economies of scale, drawing the diagram for economies of scale and trying to identify the various types of economies of scale. So pause the video and have a go at that. Okay, so if we start off then with the definition, basically economies of scale are the advantages a firm experience when they increase their scale of production in the form of falling average costs. Okay, so when a firm increases the scale of production, they may experience lower average costs. And the diagram, as you can see, is costs and output on the axes, and it is a U-shaped long-run average cost curve, LRAC. We identify the lowest point and we call that the minimum efficient scale. So from 0 up to that point, economies of scale are being experienced by the firm. There's various types of economies of scale. So the way I recall them is Big Mike Tyson fights Mexican rats. So we have got a few. We've got bulk buying economies of scale. We have got managerial economies of scale. We've got technical economies of scale. We have got financial economies of scale. We have got marketing economies of scale, and we have got risk-bearing economies of scale. Okay, so obviously if you're revising this, you would go through them and see if you can explain each one of them and see if it marries up with what you have in your notes. Moving on to diseconomies of scale then, so see if you can have a go at the same 3 questions. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Okay, so diseconomies of scale then are the disadvantages a firm experiences when they increase their scale of production in the form of rising average costs. Okay, so it's whenever a firm experiences an increase in costs as their output increases. The diagram, we can just annotate the diagram we have over here, and I can annotate it in red so you can see. So past this point of MES, whenever costs start to rise, okay, whenever costs start to rise as output increases, the firm has experienced diseconomies of scale over there. Okay, so it's on the exact same diagram. We just show it past the MES where the firm has experienced diseconomies of scale. And then the types of diseconomies of scale, my little way of remember it is a C of X's. So we've got communication issues. We may have control issues. We may have coordination issues. And we may have cooperation issues. Okay, all these little issues go wrong within a business, and we explain that all these little things via X inefficiencies. Okay, so these are all little things that go wrong within a business as it grows, that is out of the control of management. Well, it can be out in the control of management, but when the business gets too big, costs start to increase. And because all these little things like communication issues, control issues, cooperation issues go wrong, X inefficiencies are what is experienced that drive average costs up. Last thing then, external economies and diseconomies of scale. First off, start off with external economies of scale. Pause the video and try and do them 3 things again, please. Okay, so the definition for economies or external economies of scale are factors that cause average costs to decrease due to external factors. Okay, so things that happen outside the walls of the factory within that particular industry. The diagram, if we go over here, we've got the same axes, costs and output. Again, we start off with an LRAC, and we can also identify the minimum efficient scale. But this time we have to actually shift the curve. Okay, so if a firm has experienced external economies of scale, we shift the LRAC downwards, okay, to LRAC 1. So each level of output costs for various reasons outside the control of the business have decreased, and they could be due to factors such as the three ones we have is improvements in infrastructure, improvements in education, and the final one is proximity of suppliers. Okay, so if the supplier locates closer to the business, that will obviously help drive down their costs as well. And then finally, have a go at diseconomies of scale. So pause the video, try and do the same things for that, please. Okay, so diseconomies of scale, they are basically factors that cause AC to increase, okay, that happen externally from the business. So in the diagram, we basically shift the LRAC curve up the ways, okay? So now for various reasons, we've got higher costs at each level of output. And these might include two main things, maybe congestion as the business and industry grows and causes more less productivity and issues with logistics, and finally higher raw material costs as well, okay, due to the industry getting bigger and more competition, leading to more demand, driving costs up that way. Okay, so that was everything economies of scale. If you didn't get all them right, pause the video and go back through them and have a go at them again.